Chapter 31 of the Life of St. Teresa. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Anne Boulay. The Life of St. Teresa by Teresa of Jesus, translated by the Reverend John Dalton. Chapter 31. She treats of certain exterior temptations and representations of the devil, etc. As I have already spoken of some interior and secret temptations which the devil brought on me, so now I wish to speak of others which were in some manner public, and in which one could not be ignorant that the evil spirit was the agent. I was once in a certain oratory, when he appeared to me on my left side, in an abominable figure. I observed his mouth in particular while he spoke to me, and it was most terrible, for it seemed to me that a very great flame came out of his body. He told me in a terrible manner, that though I had escaped his hands, yet he would bring me back again. I was exceedingly terrified, but I blessed myself as well as I could, and he vanished away. But presently he returned again. This happened to me twice, and I knew not what to do. But as I had some holy water near me, I threw it towards the place where he was, and he never returned more. Another time he was for 5 hours together tormenting me with terrible pains, joined with such interior and exterior disquiet, that it seemed impossible for me to endure it. The women who were then with me were astonished to see what passed, but they knew not what to do, nor could I help myself. My custom is, when any corporal sickness or pain is very intolerable, to make certain acts of resignation within myself, as well as I can, beseeching our Lord that His Majesty may be pleased to give me patience, and that I may so suffer, if He please, even until the end of the world. Whenever then I found myself suffering with so much pain, I helped myself by making some such acts and resolutions, that so I might bear it the better. Our Lord was pleased I should understand that I was tempted by the devil, for I saw near me a very horrible little negro, gnashing his teeth like one raging mad, as if he had lost something which he hoped to have gained. As soon as I saw him, I laughed, and showed no fear at all, for there were some persons near who knew not what to do with me in this case, nor what remedy to apply for so great a torment. For the blows he made me give myself were very severe, and I had no power at all to resist him. And what was still worse, I felt so great inward disquiet, that I could in no way find any rest. Neither did I dare ask for holy water, lest I should terrify those who were present, or let them know what the matter was. I have often found by experience that there is nothing from which the devils fly more quickly, and return not again, than from holy water. They fly also from a cross, but return immediately. Certainly the power of holy water must be great. For my part, my soul feels a particular comfort in taking it, and very generally a refreshment and interior delight which I cannot express, and which comfort my whole soul. This is no fancy, or a thing which has happened to me only once. It has happened very often, and been observed by me with great attention. It seems like as if a person, who was suffering from heat and thirst, should drink a glass of cold water, which would greatly refresh him. I consider also that whatever is ordained by the Church is of much importance, and it is a subject of great delight to me, that those words which the Church uses when she blesses the water, should be so powerful in making such a difference between blessed and unblessed water. I told those who were present, as my torment did not cease, that if they would not laugh at me, I would beg some holy water of them. They brought me some, and sprinkled me with it, but it did me no good. I sprinkled some myself in the place where the devil was, and in an instant he departed, and all my pains went away also, as if someone had removed them with his hand, except that I found myself as tired as if I had been severely beaten. I afterwards considered that if the devil, when our Lord permits him, is able to do so much mischief to us in body and soul, even when we are not his, what will he do to them who shall fall entirely into his power? This consideration gave me fresh desires to be free from such ill company. Another time, and that very lately, the same thing happened to me when I was alone, though it did not last long. Then also I drove the devil away by holy water. 2 nuns who came into the room after he had departed said that they smelt a very disagreeable stench, as of brimstone, and these persons were well worthy of credit, for on no account would they tell an untruth. I myself, however, did not smell anything, though I was told that the smell continued so long that others might have perceived it. Another time I was in the choir when I fell into a state of deep recollection, and I went away lest others might perceive it, but all the nuns who were near heard great blows given in the place where I was kneeling. I also heard persons talking near me, as if they were debating about some business, though I understood not the conversation, for I was so fixed in prayer that I understood nothing, neither had I any fear. This used to happen almost every time when our Lord did me the favor to confer a benefit on some soul or other by my advice. It is certain that something happened to me once, which I shall now relate, and there are many witnesses of it, especially my present confessor, for he read it in a letter without my telling him who the person was that wrote the letter, though he knew well who the individual was. A certain person came to me, who had lived about 2.5 years in a most abominable mortal sin, and during all that period he neither confessed it nor reformed himself, but yet he presumed to say Mass. And though he confessed his other sins, yet respecting that one he used to say to himself, "How can I ever confess so foul a crime?" Still he was desirous of freeing himself from it, but knew not how. I took great compassion on him, and was grieved to see God offended in such a way. I promised him to beg of God to grant him some remedy, and that I would prevail on others also to do the same, who were much better than myself. I accordingly wrote to a certain person about him, sending my letter by the individual himself, and so it happened by this first letter he confessed his sin, and thus God was pleased, by the prayers of these very holy persons. I also, miserable sinner that I am, not failing to beg this favor the best I could, to extend his mercy to this soul. The individual wrote to inform me, that he was already so far reformed, that some days had passed in which he had not returned to the sin, but that the torment which the temptation caused was so great, that he considered himself to be in a kind of hell, and therefore that I must still recommend him to God. Upon this I again recommended him to my sisters, by whose prayers our Lord was pleased to do me the favor, for they took the matter exceedingly to heart. No one could guess who the person was, and I besought His Majesty to lessen his torments and temptations, and that those devils might come and torment me, provided that I might not offend our Lord in anything. And it is quite true, that shortly after this I endured most grievous torments for a month, and these 2 afflictions which I have mentioned happened at that time. But our Lord was pleased, as I have since learnt, that the devils should not afflict that person any more. His soul was strengthened and became quite free, so that he could not be satisfied with giving thanks to our Lord, and to me also, as if I had done anything. The conviction, however, which he had, that our Lord sometimes bestowed favors on me, might have been of some benefit to him. He used to say that whenever he found himself greatly assaulted, he was accustomed to read my letters, and that then the temptation immediately left him. He was much amazed to hear what I suffered, and the manner how he himself came to be free. May our Lord be praised by all men, for the prayers of those who truly serve Him, as I believe my sisters do in this house, can do much. But because I had procured those prayers, the devils were exasperated against me, and our Lord permitted it for my sins. About this time one night I thought they would have strangled me, but as soon as I had a quantity of holy water sprinkled on me, I saw a multitude of them falling, as it were headlong, and running away in despair. So frequently do these cursed spirits torment me, and so little is the fear I now have for them, seeing that they are not so much as able to stir unless our Lord give them leave, that I should weary your reverence if I related everything. What I have already said may serve to show us, that a true servant of God need give himself little trouble, about these scarecrows which the devils set up in order to make us fear them. Let him be assured that every time they see we despise them, they have less strength against us, and the soul acquires more power over them. Some great advantage is also gained, which I will not here relate, lest I should be too tedious. But I will only relate what happened to me at night, on All Souls. Being in an oratory, and having recited matins, and also those other devout prayers which are at the end of them in our breviary, the devil put himself on the book, that I might not finish the prayer. But I blessed myself, and then he went away. I began